The auditorium lights dim just a fraction as our daughter, Emily, steps up to the podium, her cap tassel swaying like a proud little flag in the breeze from the AC vents. She's beaming, her voice steady as she thanks her family, us, for the long nights, the scraped-together tuition, the endless love. The crowd erupts in applause, and I'm there in the front row, heart swelling, tears blurring the edges of my vision. My hand reaches for his, like always, squeezing that familiar warmth that's carried us through 20 years of chaos and joy. But he pulls away, cold, final, leans in, breath hot against my ear, and whispers, "This is over. I'm leaving you, right now." The words hit like a gut punch, stealing the air from my lungs. In front of everyone, our daughter, our friends, the whole damn world, he stands up, walks out, leaving me shattered on that folding chair. But oh, honey. 3 years later, when I dropped the bomb that turned his smug world upside down, he didn't just scream. He begged, and let me tell you, it was sweeter than any graduation ever could be. If you've ever felt that raw sting of betrayal, the kind that makes you question every promise ever whispered in the dark, stick around. This one's for you. Hit that like button if justice gets your blood pumping. Subscribe for more real-life revenge that'll have you cheering. And let's dive into the story that'll make you believe in payback. All right, let's rewind. Way back to the beginning. Because to understand the knife twist of that graduation day, you gotta feel the weight of everything that came before. My name's Sarah. Well, that's what I'll go by here anyway. Back then, I was just Sarah Thompson, the quiet wife who kept the home fires burning while my husband, Mark, chased his version of the American dream. We met in college, you know? Freshman year, some dingy party in a basement that smelled like stale beer and regret. He was the charming one, tall, broad-shouldered, with that easy grin that made girls giggle, and guys slap his back like he was already king of the world. I was the bookish type, buried in psych textbooks, dreaming of becoming a therapist who could fix the broken parts of people. Our first date? He took me to this little Italian place off campus, all candlelight and cheap Chianti. He leaned across the table, eyes locked on mine, and said, "Sarah, you're different. You see people, the real them, not the show." God, I melted. We talked for hours about our fears, our futures. He wanted to build something big, a tech startup that would change lives. I wanted a family, stability, a love that lasted. "We'll have it all," he promised, his fingers tracing mine under the table, sending little electric sparks up my arm. That night, as he walked me back to my dorm, the autumn leaves crunching under our boots, he kissed me like I was the only star in his sky. I believed him. Hook, line, and sinker. Fast forward 2 years. Wedding bells in a backyard ceremony. Wildflowers in my hair. His vows promising forever. Emily came along right after. Our miracle, with his dimples and my stubborn streak. Those early days were magic, weren't they? Diaper changes at 3 a.m. Him pacing the nursery with her tiny body cradled against his chest, humming off-key lullabies while I brewed coffee in the kitchen, the steam fogging the window like our breath on a cold morning. We'd collapse into bed exhausted, his arms slung heavy over my waist, whispering about the house we'd buy, the trips we'd take. "You're my rock, Sarah," he'd murmur into my hair, his voice thick with sleep. "Couldn't do this without you." But dreams have a way of curdling, don't they? Mark's startup idea, an app for streamlining freelance gigs, took off faster than we expected. Investors swooped in during year 5 of our marriage, fat checks and boardroom handshakes. Suddenly, he was the golden boy, suits instead of jeans, late nights at the office turning into all-nighters. I'd pack his lunches still, peanut butter sandwiches with notes tucked in, little hearts doodled on the napkins. Because that's what love does, right? Holds on when the world starts pulling. Emily was 3 when the first crack showed. I'd pick her up from preschool, her pigtails bouncing, chattering about finger paints and snack time, and there'd be Mark's car in the driveway already, but the house empty. No "hey babe, missed you" kiss at the door. Instead, the fridge light flickering on as I rummaged for dinner fixings, finding takeout containers piled like accusations. "Big meeting," his text would say, curt and cold. I'd stare at the screen, thumb hovering over the reply, that familiar ache blooming in my chest. like a bruise you press just to feel it throb. He's building our future, I'd tell myself, forcing a smile for Emily as we colored at the kitchen table, her crayons scraping paper in jagged lines of red and blue. This is temporary. We're a team. By the time Emily hit elementary school, the team felt more like me versus the world. Mark's company, Gigflow, was booming, headlines in tech blogs, him on podcasts sounding like a visionary. Our home morphed too. From cozy starter house to a sprawling McMansion in the suburbs, marble counters gleaming under recessed lights. Emily's room a princess palace with canopy bed and walls papered in starry night skies. But money can't buy presents, can it? Dinners became my solo performances. Emily's giggles filling the silence as I recounted her day. The chair at the head of the table empty, napkin folded neat like he might show. I'd wash dishes staring out at the manicured lawn, suds bubbling up to my elbows, the hot water scalding my skin as resentment simmered low in my gut. Why does it always fall on me? The thought would loop, a quiet rebellion against the vows we'd exchanged. One night, around Emily's 8th birthday, it boiled over. I'd planned the party myself, balloon arches twisting in the backyard breeze, a cake from that fancy bakery downtown with buttercream roses that wilted in the July heat. Kids everywhere, squealing as they chased each other through the sprinkler spray, water droplets catching the sun like diamonds. Mark arrived late, tie loosened, stubble shadowing his jaw, smelling faintly of scotch and someone else's perfume. Traffic, he muttered, ruffling Emily's hair before vanishing into the house for a quick call. I bit my tongue, cheeks burning as neighbors shot sympathetic glances, their whispers slithering like smoke. Poor Sarah, holding it together while he plays big shot. That evening, after the last guest left, and Emily crashed on the couch amid wrapping paper carnage, I cornered him in the study. The room smelled of leather and his cologne, bookshelves sagging under unread tomes on entrepreneurship. "Mark, we need to talk," I said, voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. He looked up from his laptop, screen glow casting harsh shadows on his face, irritation flickering in his eyes like a storm cloud. "Not now, Sarah. Crunch time. Crunch time." That phrase, thrown like a bone to a starving dog, my throat tightened, words tumbling out hot and jagged. "This isn't just about you anymore. Emily asks why Daddy's always gone. I can't keep making excuses." He sighed, heavy, like I was the burden, leaning back in his chair with that patronizing tilt of his head. "You're being dramatic. This is for us. The sacrifices now mean security later. Trust me." Trust him? The word landed like a slap, echoing in the space between us. I stood there, fists clenched at my sides, nails digging crescents into my palms, the pain grounding me as tears pricked hot behind my eyes. Sacrifices? Who's sacrificing what here? But I swallowed it down, nodded, retreated to the kitchen where the cake plates mocked me from the sink, frosting smeared like blood. That was the pattern, wasn't it? Me, shrinking into the role of supportive wife, therapist to our daughter when she'd cry into her pillow about Daddy's busy job, pouring my energy into PTA meetings and soccer sidelines, cheering louder than anyone to fill the void. Internally, though, a storm raged. Nights when he'd stumble in at midnight, I'd lie awake beside him, his snores rumbling like thunder, my mind a whirlwind of what-ifs. What if I hadn't put my career on hold? What if I demanded more? The injustice gnawed at me, a slow acid eat through my resolve. Powerlessness, that's the word. Feeling like a ghost in your own life, watching him shine while you fade. But here's where it gets interesting, where the seeds of something bigger took root. See, while Mark built Gigflow into a 7-figure beast, I wasn't idle. Not entirely. Back in college, I'd minored in computer science. Nerdy side project, coding little scripts for fun. When Emily was a toddler those sleepless nights, I didn't just scroll Facebook. I dove into online courses, free ones on Coursera and edX. Fingers flying over the keyboard in the dim nursery glow, Emily's baby monitor humming softly beside me. It started small, an app idea of my own, born from frustration. Freelancers like the ones Mark served, they needed more than gigs. They needed community, mental health check-ins, tools to combat burnout. I called it MindBridge, a platform blending job matching with therapy resources, AI-driven mood trackers, virtual support circles. Nights blurred into weeks, code compiling in the quiet hours after Mark's networking dinners, my eyes burning from the screen, coffee going cold on the desk. At first, it was just a hobby, a secret rebellion. I'd test prototypes with online forums, anonymous handle Code Therapist, heart-pounding as feedback rolled in. This could save lives. Validation, tiny sparks in the dark, but by year 10 of our marriage, Mindbridge had legs. I bootstrapped it with savings from my part-time editing gigs. Ironic, huh? Editing self-help books while ignoring my own mess. Beta users grew. Stressed coders, graphic designers on the edge, sharing stories that mirrored my own isolation. Revenue trickled in. Subscriptions, partnerships with wellness brands. I kept it hidden from Mark, not out of spite, but shame. Fear? What if he laughs? What if he sees me as competition? So I funneled it into a separate LLC, quiet board meetings via Zoom from coffee shops when Emily was at school, my voice steady on calls even as my stomach twisted with imposter syndrome. Emily turned 12, and the underestimation hit new lows. Mark's company hit unicorn status. Press junkets, Forbes features, him striding gala red carpets in tuxes that cost more than our first car. Home? A revolving door of assistants and nannies, me juggling school runs and venture capitalist small talk at his events, smiling through gritted teeth as wives compared designer bags. One dinner party stands out, etched in my memory like a scar. Crystal glasses clinking under chandelier light, laughter echoing off vaulted ceilings. Mark, arm around some venture capitalist shoulder, booming. Sarah, here's the real MVP. Keeps the home front solid so I can innovate. The table chuckled. Polite applause. But his eyes. Dismissive, like I was a prop in his TED Talk. I excused myself to the powder room, locking the door, gripping the marble sink until my knuckles whitened, staring at my reflection. Fine lines creeping around my eyes, hair pulled back in a sensible ponytail. Solid? I'm a goddamn architect, and you don't even see the blueprint. The mirror fogged with my ragged breaths, resolve hardening like cooling steel. That night, I poured everything into Mindbridge. User testimonials flooding in, revenue hitting 6 figures. Still secret, still mine. High school years for Emily, a blur of hormones and heartaches. She inherited my introspection, Mark's charisma, debate club star, volleyball captain, but always that shadow of parental discord. Arguments escalated at home. Mark snapping over misplaced keys, me firing back about forgotten recitals. "You're always on my case," he'd yell, face reddening, veins bulging in his neck like rivers about to flood. I'd retreat to the home office. My office now disguised as a guest room, door clicking shut, fingers hammering code as tears splashed the keyboard. He doesn't see me. He never did. Betrayal layered on betrayal, discovering flirty texts from his executive coach, the way he'd criticize my hobby projects if I let slip a coding reference. Disrespect, dripping like venom, calling me too emotional in fights, dismissing my worries as nagging. Powerlessness peaked when he'd cancel family vacations last minute for deals, leaving Emily and me at the airport, luggage thumping hollowly on the tile, her small hand in mine, eyes wide with that heartbreaking mix of hope and hurt. But Mindbridge, it exploded. By Emily's junior year, we'd secured seed funding. Quiet, under-the-radar VCs who believed in the mission. I hired a skeleton crew remotely, built algorithms that predicted burnout with eerie accuracy, partnered with therapists worldwide. Revenue, 7 figures now climbing. I watched the dashboards glow in the dead of night, numbers ticking up like vindication, my chest expanding with a forbidden thrill. This is what it feels like to build something real. Still, I played the part. PTA mom in yoga pants, cheering at games from the bleachers, wind-whipping my scarf, while inside, a phoenix clawed at its cage. Senior year. Emily's college apps loomed, her stress mirroring mine at that age. We bonded over late-night study sessions, her in cap and gown mock-ups, me reviewing code commits, whispering dreams in the kitchen glow, steam from chamomile tea curling between us. Mark, distant as ever, buried in acquisition talks. Gigflow was eyeing a $1 billion IPO, champagne toasts and high-rises, his name in lights. Jealousy, maybe a flicker, but mostly pity. He thought he was the empire builder. blind to the one rising in his shadow. Graduation day dawned crisp and golden, May sunlight slanting through our bedroom blinds like promises. I woke early, nerves buzzing. This is her moment. Our moment. Emily bounced in at 7 a.m., dress bag swinging. "Mom, help with the curls." We laughed in the bathroom. Steam from the flat iron fogging the mirror. Her excitement infectious, chasing away my unease. Mark grumbled from bed. Too early, but dressed sharp. Navy suit, tie knotted perfect. The picture of proud dad. Drive to the auditorium. Windows down, wind tousling Emily's hair. Radio crooning an old Springsteen tune about glory days. My hand on the gear shift, his on my knee, brief, perfunctory. Almost there. Hold it together. The ceremony. Folding chairs creaking under shifting bodies, air thick with floral perfumes and anticipation. Emily's name called third in her honors class, summa cum laude, future engineer at MIT. She strode across the stage, diploma gripped like a talisman, scanning the crowd for us. Our eyes met, hers sparkling, and I clapped till my palms stung, throat tight with pride. Mark beside me, nodding approval, but something off, his jaw clenched, fingers drumming his thigh, that telltale tick when deals soured. Then, her speech. Microphone feedback whines once, then clears. Emily's voice clear as a bell. To my family. Mom for the endless rides and pep talks. Dad for showing me ambition's fire. Applause swells, and that's when it happens. Mark's hand slips from mine, deliberate, cold withdrawal. He leans in, lips brushing my ear, voice a venomous hiss. "Sarah, this isn't working. I'm done. Leaving you. Today." Time fractures. The words ricochet in my skull, a hammer to glass. My vision tunnels. Emily's silhouette on stage blurring, crowd noise muffling to a roar in my ears. Heat floods my face, cheeks burning as if branded, stomach plummeting like freefall. Here, now, in front of her. His chair scrapes back, harsh, accusatory, as he stands, suit jacket flaring, striding up the aisle without a backward glance. Whispers ripple like aftershocks, heads turning, eyes pitying, phones discreetly angling for the drama. I sit frozen, hands clasped in my lap, nails gouging flesh to anchor the spin. Emily's eyes find mine from the stage, confusion flickering, then hurt as she scans for him. The betrayal crashes 20 years dissolved in a whisper. Disrespect, weaponized, public humiliation, our daughter's triumph tainted. Powerlessness surges, a tidal wave, legs leaden, refusing to chase, voice lodged in throat, silent scream. Internally? Chaos, how dare you? After everything? You coward. Tears well, hot tracks down my cheeks, but I force a smile for her, waving weakly as she descends, cap in hand. The aftermath? A haze. Photos with extended family, their hugs stiff, condolences veiled. Men, you know. Emily clings to me in the lobby, mascara streaked. Where's Dad? What happened? I bundle her into the car, engine humming to life, lies tumbling soft. Just work stress. We'll talk later. Homeward bound, suburbs blurring past, her head on my shoulder, sobs muffled in my blouse. My mind races, fury coiling tight in my chest, breaths shallow, fists white-knuckled on the wheel. He doesn't get to walk away clean, not like this. That night, alone in the kitchen, Emily asleep upstairs, fairy lights from her grad party twinkling mockingly, I pace the tile, cold under bare feet, wine glass trembling in my grip. Phone buzzes, his text. Staying at the club, need space, papers tomorrow. Rage ignites, a bonfire in my veins, heart hammering, skin prickling with heat. Papers? After you got me in public? I hurl the glass. It shatters against the cabinet. Red rivulets spiderwebbing the floor like veins, kneeling in the shards. Glass nicking my palms. Blood mixing with wine. The pain sharp, clarifying. No more shrinking, no more secrets. In that moment, resolve crystallizes. Revenge, not petty, but profound. Justice, served on a platter of his own making. The turning point came at dawn, sunlight creeping through curtains like an intruder. I hadn't slept, eyes gritty, mind aforge hammering plans. Coffee bitter on my tongue. Laptop open to MindBridge's dashboard. Users at 500K. Valuation whispers from investors hitting $200 million. My empire. Fingers hovering over keys, I email my COO. Accelerate the Series B pitch. Full court press. Then the real spark. A quiet call to my lawyer, voice steady as granite. Divorce papers. But hold off serving. I have something bigger. The plan unfurled, petal by petal, meticulous, psychologically laced. Mark thrived on control, on being the alpha innovator. I'd strip that, layer by layer, let him taste underestimation's bitter fruit. First, the divorce. I filed quietly, no fault, but with a twist, prenup clauses he'd glossed over years ago, protecting my separate assets. He laughed when served at his office, papers fluttering to his desk like fallen leaves. I imagined his face, smug curl of lip, that dismissive chuckle. Sarah's bluffing. She'll come crawling. But I didn't. Instead, radio silence. Moved Emily and me to a sleek downtown condo, views of the city skyline glittering like retribution, while he rattled around the empty McMansion, echoes mocking his solitude. Months blurred. Emily's MIT orientation, her dorm room posters taped crooked, hugs lingering too long in the airport drop-off. Me, diving deeper into MindBridge. Board meetings in glass-walled conference rooms, my heels clicking authority on marble floors, voice commanding as I pitched expansions. We're not just an app. We're a lifeline. Revenue soared. $50 million run rate. Acquisitions of smaller wellness startups. Whispers in tech circles. Who's this Sarah Hale? The ghost behind the glow-up. I rebranded. Hale Ventures. My maiden name reclaimed like a flag planted on conquered ground. Mark's world? Cracking. Gigflow's IPO loomed, but scandals simmered. User complaints about exploitative gigs, lawsuits from overworked freelancers. His genius algorithms? Flawed, biased, bleeding users dry. I'd seeded it subtly. Anonymized tips to journalists via MindBridge's network. Ethical hackers poking holes. Nothing illegal, just karma's nudge. His calls started. Voicemails, slurred at 2 a.m. Sarah, babe, let's talk. For Emily. Delete. Texts. Miss you. Come home. The audacity. My blood boiling. Thumb smashing block. Internally? Triumph laced with ache. You missed the convenience, not the woman. Escalation built like a symphony. Holiday season. Emily's first college break. Us decorating the condo tree. Ornaments tinkling soft. Her laughter a balm. Mark shows uninvited. Bottle of wine in hand, eyes bloodshot, suit rumpled. Door cracks open, his smile faltering at my cool gaze. Family time? He tries stepping in, cologne cloying. Emily hugs him stiff, tension crackling like static. Dinner, awkward silences, forks scraping plates, his jokes landing flat. Then the probe. Heard you're tinkering with some app. Cute hobby. Hobby. The word ignites, jaw clenching, fork pausing midair, metal cool against skin. Cute. I smile saccharine. More than tinkering, Mark. But you wouldn't get it. He scoffs, leaning back, chair creaking, always the dreamer. Stick to what you know, home stuff. Emily's eyes widen, hurt flashing. I excuse us, heart pounding, whispering to her later. He's scared, Em, of what he doesn't see. That night, alone, fury propels me. Finalize the pitch deck. MindBridge's valuation? $500 million now, blue chip investors circling. The revenge core. Not destruction, but revelation. At Tech Summit, his big IPO stage, I'd announce our merger talks. No better, acquire a stake in Gigflow. Through proxies, I'd positioned Hale Ventures as a strategic partner, ethics arm to clean his mess. The board, already swayed by my data, MindBridge's success mirroring their flaws. Tension-crested springtime, 3 years post-graduation. Emily's sophomore year, her spring break visit overlapping the summit. Mark's invites flooded, VIP tickets. Reconnect? I accept, for her, for the trap. Airport reunion. Him in chauffeured limo, grin wide, but eyes darting. Thinner, grayer at temples. Empire's weight bowing his shoulders. "Sarah, you look amazing," he says, hand brushing mine. Electric with old familiarity. Revulsion coils in my gut, skin crawling. Too late. Emily chatters, oblivious. City lights streaking past as we glide to the hotel. Opulent lobby, chandeliers dripping crystal tears. Summit days, panels buzzing, badges swiping, air humming with ambition. Mark preens, keynote slot, spotlight bathing him in gold, voice booming. Gig flows revolutionizing work. Applause thunders, but murmurs undercut. Lawsuits pending, ethics void. I sit front row, poised, notebook balanced on knee, pen tapping rhythm, a metronome of impending doom. His eyes find mine during Q&A, a flicker of unease, post-talk mingle. Champagne flutes fizzing, networking schmooze. He corners me by the bar, scotch neat in hand, breath warm. "We were good once, Sarah. What if we try again?" "Try? The gall?" My laugh sharp, glass cool against lips. "Good for who, Mark? You?" He presses, hand on arm, grip tightening. "Come on, don't be bitter. You're still my wife in here." Finger to chest, patronizing. Rage simmers, vision spotting red. "Bitter? You made me this." I pull away, silk blouse whispering. "Watch the main stage tomorrow. Clarity." Night falls heavy, hotel room shadows long, Emily asleep in the adjoining suite. I pace carpet plush underfoot. Phone clutched. Final calls to lawyers, investors. Heart thuds erratic, palms slick. Fear whispering, what if it backfires? But determination steals. He underestimated me. Time to pay. Sleep evades. Mind replaying slights. Graduation aisle empty. Texts deleted. Hobby sneers. Dawn breaks. Coffee scalding. Makeup flawless. Red lips like war paint. Summit climax. Main hall packed. Screens giant. Air electric. Mark's IPO announcement first. Confetti cannons primed. His strut to podium. Mic feedback squeal. Today, gig flow goes public. "A new era!" Cheers erupt, but my seat vibrates with my pulse. Then, my slot. Hale Ventures keynote. Spotlight shifts, blinding white as I ascend. Heels echoing, dress-hugging curves reclaimed through yoga and will. Crowd hushes, curiosity rippling. "Thank you," I begin, voice amplified, steady as a blade. "I'm Sarah Hale, founder of MindBridge, the platform that's not just connecting freelancers, but healing them." Gasps murmur. "Hale? The ex-Mrs. Thompson?" Eyes dart to Mark, row 3, face paling. I weave the tale, not ours, but the mission. Stats flash on screens. User stories voiced. Anonymous voices cracking with thanks. MindBridge saved me from the edge. Valuation reveal. $750 million, with a Series C closing next week. Applause builds, but I pivot. And today, exciting news. Hale Ventures is acquiring a controlling stake in Gigflow. Not as conqueror, but partner. We'll integrate ethics modules, protect users, ensure fair play. Silence drops like a guillotine. Mark lurches, chair toppling, face ashen, mouth agape. "What the?" His whisper carries, mic'd lapel betraying. I meet his gaze, cool, unflinching. "Surprised, Mark? You always said I was the rock. Turns out I'm the earthquake." Chaos erupts. Reporters swarm, flashes popping like gunfire, questions barraging. Mark charges the stage, security trailing, voice cracking. "This is bullshit! Sarah, what the hell?" But mics catch it all. His rage broadcast live, streaming to millions. I step aside, calm as a surgeon. "Questions for the board, Mark, or our lawyers?" He screams then, raw, guttural. "You bitch! You planned this? After everything I gave you?" "Gave?" Laughter bubbles, bitter. Crowd gasps. Phones recording his unraveling. Tie askew, eyes wild, spittle-flecking lips. Security escorts him, flailing. "She's lying. I built this!" But the board nods from wings. Deals inked, his ouster imminent. Backstage, Emily rushes me, arms wrapping tight. "Mom, that was you? All this time?" Pride swells, tears pricking, her awe a balm. "Yeah, baby, for us." Mark's calls flood, voicemails unraveling. "Please, Sarah, don't do this. I love you." Love, too late, I block, exhale long. body thrumming with release. Shoulders dropping, breath steadying. The weight of years sloughing off like dead skin. Let's linger here. Because this, the payoff, is the nectar. The reason we crave these stories. That summit afternoon stretched eternal. Sun slanting through convention center windows and golden shafts that danced with dust motes, turning the chaos into something almost cinematic. The hall, moments before a hive of polished ambition, devolved into a frenzy. Chairs scraping as attendees stood, murmurs swelling to a cacophony, screens looping my reveal on side monitors like a verdict reel. Mark's face, oh, that face, projected larger than life for a split second before text cut the feed, but not before the damage etched permanent. His eyes, bulging with disbelief, pupils dilated black as pitch, mouth twisted in a snarl that bared teeth yellowed from stress smokes. The scream that tore from him, primal, echoing off rafters like a wounded animal's howl, slicing through the din. Sarah, you can't, this is my company, you gold digging. The slur dies midair, security, burly guys in black polos, earpieces crackling, closing in like wolves on a lame stag. He thrashes, suit jacket ripping at the seam with a sad rip, elbow connecting with a champagne flute on a nearby table, glass shattering in a spray of fizz and shards that skitter across the carpet like fleeing insects. Get off me, he bellows, voice cracking high, the alpha facade fracturing into something pathetic, boyish. His cheeks flush mottled red, sweat beading on his forehead, trickling into his eyes. He blinks furiously, smearing it with a frantic swipe. I stand there, podium still warm under my palms, the wood grain imprinted on my skin like a brand of victory, watching as they frog march him toward the exit. His gaze locks on mine one last time, pleading now, the fury melting into desperation, lips forming silent pleas that twist my gut. Not with pity, but a fierce, intoxicating yes. This is justice. Feel it, Mark. Feel the burn. The crowd? Electric. Whispers cascade. Did she just ex-wife? Holy shit! Phones thrust forward, lenses hungry, capturing every flail, every curse. A reporter from TechCrunch elbows through, mic thrust like a sword. Ms. Hale, how long have you been positioning for this? I turn, smile measured. Lips curving slow, eyes steady, the red of my lipstick a slash of power. Long enough to know value when I see it. Gig flow needs heart. We're providing it. Applause trickles, then surges, sustained, thunderous, women in the front rows nodding fierce, fists pumping subtle. Emily, from the wings. Her face a mirror of awe and vindication. Mouths I love you, tears glistening on her lashes. My chest cracks open. Not pain, but release. A sob caught in my throat, hot and cathartic, as if years of swallowed screams pour out in that silent cheer. But the real climax? The private unraveling, the moments after the spotlight fades. Back in the green room, plush couches sagging under post-adrenaline weight, air conditioner humming low. I collapse into an armchair, legs folding like wet noodles, the tremor starting in my fingers and spreading, a full body quake. Emily kneels before me, hands on my knees, her touch grounding. Mom, that was epic. He had no idea. No idea. The underestimation crystallized. I pull her close, her hair smelling of hotel shampoo and youth, burying my face in the crook of her neck, breaths hitching. He never did, baby, but now, the world does. Laughter bubbles through tears, wet, relieved, our bodies shaking together. A dyad unbreakable. Mark's siege begins then, relentless. My phone, silenced during the talk, erupts in the quiet. 47 notifications, voicemails stacking like accusations. First one, timestamp 2:14 p.m. His voice ragged, panting as if he'd sprinted from the hall. Sarah. What the fuck? Acquisition? You set me up? After 20 years. I gave you everything, a house, Emily's school, this life. Gave. The word grates, nails on chalkboard in my skull. I hit play on speaker, Emily's eyes widening as his pleas devolve. Okay, fine, I screwed up. The graduation, stupid, heat of the moment. But this, ruin me and you ruin us. Call me, please. Click. Silence descends, heavy as fog. broken only by the distant murmur of hallway chatter. Emily's jaw sets, echo of my own resolve. Don't. He doesn't deserve it. But I listen to more. Masochistic. No, methodical. Second 237, sloppier, bar clink in background. You're destroying me. Board called emergency meeting. They're voting me out because of you. Sarah, I love you. Always have. Come back. We'll fix this. Love. The lie lands like acid, sizzling old wounds. The anniversaries forgotten. The flings I'd suspected but buried. My skin crawls, phantom itches where his hands once roamed familiar. Third, 302, weeping now, guttural sobs that wrench despite myself. Emily, tell her I'm sorry. God, what have I done? You're the smart one, always were. I see it now. Please stop this. Stop? The audacity reignites the fire. Heart rate spiking, palms fisting the couch arm, nails embedding fabric. See it now? When your throne topples. By evening, the hotel bar, dim amber lights pooling on mahogany, jazz piano tinkling melancholy, becomes the battlefield. He corners us there, Emily and me nursing sodas at a high top, bubbles fizzing lazy. Security tipped him off, or desperation's GPS. He weaves through patrons, disheveled, shirt untucked, hair mussed, eyes rimmed red like a raccoon's. Sarah, he rasps, collapsing onto a stool, hand reaching, desperate claw. I recoil, stool leg scraping harsh. Not here. But he presses, voice low, urgent. Everything's crumbling. Investors pulling out, stocks tanking pre-IPO. The house. Foreclosure whispers. Emily. He turns to her. Puppy dog eyes. The manipulator's last card. Sweetie, help me talk to Mom. Emily stiffens, straw crunching between teeth. You talked plenty at her graduation, Dad. Walked out. Remember? His face crumples. Genuine? Theatrical? Tears spilling, unchecked, dripping onto the bar top in dark spots. I was angry, lost. The pressure, but this revenge, it's killing me. Revenge. The word hangs, accusatory, but oh, the irony. My laugh escapes, sharp, slicing the air. Revenge? This is consequence, Mark. You built on sand, exploiting people, ignoring us. I built on stone. He lunges then, grabbing my wrist, grip bruising, nails digging half-moons into flesh. Bitch! He hisses, face inches from mine, Scotch breath hot, fetid. You think you're better? Some secret mogul? I made you. Made me? The spark ignites. I twist free, wrist throbbing, voice ice. You broke me. I rebuilt myself. Security materializes, ghosts in black, hauling him back as he screams, full-throated now, drawing stares. You'll regret this. I'll sue. Fight for every cent! But the barman shakes his head, patrons murmuring drama, phones discreetly filming. Humiliation, public again, but reversed. The knife turned, plunging deep. They drag him out, his protests fading into the night. Door swinging shut, sealing the echo. Emily's hand finds mine under the table, squeeze firm. Proud of you, Mom. Pride swells, warm as sunlight, washing the ache. We linger, ordering dessert, cheesecake rich, fork tines scraping porcelain, talking futures, her internships, my next ventures. Laughter returns, light, unburdened. Later, in the suite, city lights twinkling beyond floor-to-ceiling glass like a million winking conspirators. I stand at the window, reflection ghostly, arms wrapped tight against the chill. The release crashes then, knees buckling, sliding to the floor, sobs racking, deep, diaphragmatic, purging the poison. Not grief, but triumph. Validation flooding veins like elixir, every slight alchemized to gold. I did this, me. Emily joins, curling beside, our tears mingling. A baptism. Hours pass in whispers. Her fears aired, my secrets spilled, the lonely codings, the doubts that gnawed. Dawn creeps, pink fingers over the skyline, and with it, peace, solid, earned. Mark's downfall accelerated. Board ousted him by week's end. Headlines screaming Gigflow founder booted in ex-wife's coup. Photos of him paparazzi swarmed outside his condo. Pajamas rumpled. Coffee cup trembling. Went viral. Schadenfreude fodder. Lawsuits piled. His empire a husk. Me? Mindbridge thrived. Post-acquisition, user base doubled. Ethical overhauls lauded. Emily visited more. Her pride a mirror to mine. And Mark? Occasional sightings. Coffee shop run-ins, his eyes downcast. Mumbling congratulations like ash in mouth. Begging voicemails tapered. Replaced by silence. The loudest apology. That scream at the summit? It echoes still, a symphony's crescendo, the sound of fairness restored. Stories like this remind us, betrayal cuts deep, but resilience carves deeper. Karma isn't blind, it's built, one line of code, one quiet choice at a time. Justice? It's not just payback, it's reclaiming your power, proving to the world, and yourself, that you were always the force to be reckoned with. If that didn't give you goosebumps and a fist pump, check your pulse. Smash that like button if you felt Sarah's fire. Drop in the comments. What's the sweetest revenge you've pulled off or witnessed? Spill the tea. We're all ears. And hey, subscribe. Turn on notifications for more raw, real stories that'll hit you right in the feels. Thanks for riding this roller coaster with me. See you in the next one.